threw you off, huh?
Yeah. You live right now.
Christ.
You got it. No. Shalom Israel, we're going to let everybody chime in. Sabbath service. Give everybody an opportunity to come into the class. You can put it right here. It's like it. So, we're gonna give everybody a second to chime in. It's fine. To the medication started Eastern. Today we're going to be going over Isaiah 53. I think we touched on Noah. Everybody understands Noah. The earth was flooded, and for being wicked. So make sure you like, share, subscribe to everything ISUBK. It's very important. And we're going to throw up these prayers in just a second, all right? If you could, if you want to say something.
Yeah. Like brother was saying, you know what I'm saying? It's a Sabbath service. Brothers and sisters need to attend the Sabbath service, you know what I'm saying? It's ordained by the Most High. It's your high holy day, man, you know what I'm saying? We do have a high holy day coming along, you know what I'm saying, later on this month. But as you are aware, you're supposed to be at the Sabbath service, you know what I'm saying, serving the Lord in truth and in spirit, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a glorious day. If it wasn't for the Lord, you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the Lord ordaining this day and making this day sacred unto you, your oppressors will work you into the damn ground, man. It's your day of rest, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We here to teach the Bible, man, to teach, you know what I'm saying, all blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Good to go?
Yeah, we're going to get to go. I'm just getting everything in order.
Yeah, no sweat.
Normally I let everybody chime in for like the first 5 minutes. Go to the YouTube, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, just subscribe.
Yeah, that's crucial. You subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook and even our Instagram. You'll stay up to date with all classes. You know what I'm saying? We got classes Tuesday through Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Tuesday, Brotherhood class. Wednesday, the Law class. Thursday, Scripture breakdown. Friday, the Lashawan Kodash class. And Saturday, the Sabbath service. You understand? You subscribe, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be able to stay up to date when we having our events, when we having our classes, and you'll never feel like you out of the loop. You want to stay a part of the loop, you got to get in class. Bottom line.
Let's get it. All right. My brothers up here standing. Blow that horn for me, sir. Over, sir. You've been practicing. That was perfect. Everybody stand. We're going to throw up these prayers. Before that,
That's fast.
let's do this. This was mine. Nobody uses it. I haven't used it. I got it. There.
La Yasharala.
Panyakadam, which means face the east. We're going to face the east. Throw up these prayers. All right. All right. So this is going to be the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Raba'ah, Zaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ratiza, Kawa, Hayah, Hashemayim, Dunanawa, Come, Nawam, Masalakinawa, Wala'ah, Sabawayana, Isaiah, Abba, Hoshayna, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Malakwa, Allah, Hatapara, Alumium, Amen. The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakat, or the power, Yahweh, Hashem, Abishai, Dunanawa, Hakak, Rapa'ah, Kol, Makal, Madawa, Hakak, Matahar, Matazarayim, Hakak, Hakwayim, Hamathim, Hakak, Rakwa, Hatama'ala, Hashem, the water. Amen. Hakka, the power in the English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. Psalms 121. Asha'ah,
Asha'ah,
Ayanya,
Ayanya,
Al,
Al,
Laharyam,
Laharyam,
Ma'ayan,
Ma'ayan,
Yaba'ah,
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah, Ma'ai, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Baratazah, Al, Lutan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al, Yawam, Shemarka, Hanah, La'ah, Manawam, Mala'ah, Yashin, Shalamar, Sharala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Zalka, Yad, Yamka, Yawam, Hashemash, La'ah, Barak, Valayalah, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Napashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Alka, Ayatha, I will love him. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From what cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Blessings. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahawashi. Wa Yahawashi. Wa Yaka'ala. Wa Yaka'ala. Wa Alahayim. Wa Alahayim. Tazabiyah. Tazabiyah. Alawapyahana. 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 Hasaranyam. Hasaranyam. Hakwatizayanyam. Hakwatizayanyam. Hakayayayam. Hakayayayam. Wa Ha'akwapyam. Wa Yawapyam. Yahweh. Yahweh. Hashem. Hashem. Yahawashi. Yahawashi. The water. Amen. To the blessings in English. Bless you, Yahweh. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahawashi. And Michael. And the angel. Commander General Yahweh. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahawashi. Thank you. So be it. All right, Sarge. You may be. You ain't got to put on. You may be seated. All right. That was excellent. All right, so if you haven't chimed in, we're going over Isaiah 53. We're going over Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. And the reason why we're going over it is to show, again, Christ in the New Testament, or it's like in the Old Testament. Right. Because that's who Isaiah 53 is talking about. It's not talking about Israel on the whole. It's not talking about, anybody but Christ. The select verses that we're going to read. And like Christ said, or like it is written, it is written in the volume. I am in the volume of the book. What is that? How does that go? Slide. Come through all the volumes. Psalms 40 and 7. Psalms 40 and 7, if I could, real quick. I come in the volume of the book. It is written to me. There it is. I don't like when scriptures leave me, so I have to go and get it. Slide. So which one? Psalms what? Psalms 40 and 7, real quick. What is it? Slide. No sweat. All right. Psalms chapter 40, verse 7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. One more time. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. Right. It is written of me. Right. And you also find that in You also find that in the Hebrews. And it was referencing Christ. You get what I'm saying? The book it references Christ. When Christ was reading, when he was growing up, and he would read certain scriptures, he would know it was talking about him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody else fulfilled those prophecies and fulfilled the life, the birthplace, and the ending. I say ending very loosely, or when the brother died, when Christ died, nobody fulfilled that like a man by the name of Yahushua of the lineage of the house of David.
Right.
You understand? So we're going to go into Isaiah 53. We're going to read 7 verses in the Hebrew and 7 verses in the English. All right. So, also, if you don't have a Hebrew Bible, I don't know why I haven't thought about this. Go on your phone. So like it. Go on your phone and look up Hebrew Bible, Isaiah 53 in Hebrew. A lot of times you can get the interlinear, and you can read, try to read along. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But I recommend, just like getting a physical Bible, I recommend getting a physical Bible in Hebrew as well. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just traditional, right? It's not a sin to use your phone, but you don't want to make a habit of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read this, and we're gonna get into it, and show you why we say Bahashem Yahushai. All right, Isaiah 53. Maya ha'amayan lasha ma'aithanawa wa zarawai Yahweh al maya nagalata waya al kaya wa nak Lapanyawa wa Kasharash Ma'arataza Tadaya La'a Ta'ara Lawa Wala'a it's like Hadar Wana Ahawa Wala'a Mara'a Wanacha Madawa Nabaza Wacha Dala Ayasham Ayash Maka Bawa Waya Dawai Khalaya Waka Masa Satar Punyam Mama Nawa Nabza Wala'a Khashab Noah, or it's like Khashab Noah, kind of a bun. Khala ya Noah, Hawa'a Nasha'a, Wa Maka'a Baya Noah, Sabalam, Wa'a Raka Noah, Khashab Bun Hawa Nagawai Maka Alahayim Wa Ma'aina Waha Wa'a Makhala Mapashai Nawa Madah Ba'a Ma'ai wa nath Yanawa Mas Mawasar Shala wa Munwa Ila Yun wa ba Khabarthawa wa ba Barathwa Nara Pa'a Lanawa Kalanawa Kataza An Thai Yanawa Ayash La Dara Bawa Bun Yanawa Wayahawa Hapagayai Bun Ash I won Ba Bilal Noah Nagash Waha Ra'a Na'aino Na Rala'a Yapatha Payawa Kasha'a Latabach Yawabal Wakarakla Wayarakal La Punya Gazazaya Na Alama Wala'a Ya Pathka Payawa.
Alright. I'm gonna read it in the English.
Yep, the first 7 verses.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. Say what? Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Verse 2.
Okay.
For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness. Mm-hmm. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. All right.
One more time?
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, one more time.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. He hath believed, who hath believed our report?
So the Bible's saying, or Isaiah is saying, who hath believed our report?
Right.
Go ahead.
And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Who gets things revealed unto them?
Right.
What is that? That's
Go ahead, sis. You want to take a shot?
I know the scripture I think you're speaking of. He shows his word. Is that what you're speaking of?
That's a good one, but it's one more specific I'm looking for.
This basically talking about like who's the Lord dealing with, right?
Right.
But a specific person.
Right. So I'm gonna get Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. So the ones that can break this down, what we're about to read, are the servants, the prophets. Who are the servants? You have to come from the lineage of Israel, and even in that, you have the Israel of God. You understand what I'm saying? Like just because you're black doesn't mean you're gonna understand Isaiah 53.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have the priests of the Lord, the prophets of the Lord, break it down to you. That's what you gotta have. You gotta have us break it down to you.
And then also, if I could, I believe, I'm paraphrasing, you still have to have an ear to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It could be broken down to you, just like brothers was going crazy over his water wet. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Give me one moment, though. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Somebody at the door.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll continue reading. It says, who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness. First of all, this is talking about Jesus Christ. I just gotta that's the foundation of this. This is talking about Jesus Christ, and we're going to show us talking about Jesus Christ. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. You understand? This is talking about Jesus Christ. How? Where did Jesus Christ grow up? The hood, the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? He came out of Nazareth. Nazareth today is San Bernardino. It's Compton. It's South Central. You understand? Go ahead. Keep going. Oh, I don't know why I do that so much. I'll be reading to myself. I'll be reading and I'll be like, go ahead, because that's how much I'll be like. My brain just be going.
Yeah, no sweat.
Going. So like it.
You already broke it down?
No, yeah, keep going.
Let me read it from the top.
All right, that's fine.
All right, we're coming out of Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. Who hath believed our report? And to whom is the Lord, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
Read.
Verse 2. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant.
Christ, that's what Christ was, man. That's what Christ was. How? He grew up as a tender plant. What is a tender plant? What would you say a tender plant is?
Man, I say a plant that, you know what I'm saying, that needs a lot of care.
And if you put it that way, right, a tender plant, Christ did. And he was also real sharp in the scriptures at a young age. As a tender.
Like a tender.
At a young age.
Right, a plant that takes up a lot of, needs a lot of nutrients.
Right, and he was taking up all the nutrients, so to speak,
right,
with the knowledge and breakdowns. He was conversing with high-ranking men in that day, back in those times. At 12 years old, I believe. You remember he ran away? Right. Well, he didn't run away, but he was about his father's business.
Right, he went missing.
Yeah, he went missing, and they were searching for him for days' journey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he was busy. He wasn't riding the bike. He wasn't,
on rocks and nothing like that.
Yeah, like the regular kids. He was not that Christ wasn't regular. I mean,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He was special, but he was doing things that a 12-year-old, it wasn't really common.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was studying the scriptures, and he was showing scriptures to the people who's supposed to know the scriptures. That's what he was doing at a young age. Go ahead.
All right. Chapter 53, verse 2, carry on. And as a root out of a dry ground.
That's the ghetto. Go ahead.
He hath no form, nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
Now, why does it say that? There was no beauty. Is my bag right there? No, it's probably back there. I think my bag is back there. Yeah. So basically, read that one more time.
All right. There is no beauty, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
Right. So there is no beauty that we should desire him. What does that mean? That Christ is ugly? No. What this means was that Christ. Okay, what gets our people the most in the Christian church?
Like what draws you to the pastor?
What draws you to the pastor? What draws you to the Pope?
Right.
What draws you to, you get what I'm saying? The Catholic Church, Malcolm X.
Right.
Right? How they looked.
Yeah.
Right? They really looked like, like they had good feeling sermon for you.
Right.
Ready. You get what I'm saying? Christ wasn't that. Christ didn't look like that. Christ looked rough.
Right.
Christ had a beard. I'm sure he had his hair braided every now and then. A fro.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I mean, don't say he had braids, but I'm saying he was black, so you never know. You know? Right. Probably had him twisted every now and then. But the point is that he was a nigga.
Right.
Creflo Dollar, he's black, but he's not a nigga though.
Nah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like he's a white man. Creflo Dollar is white. He's whitewashed. Christ didn't roll like if Christ was here today, he wouldn't be in a suit and tie.
Nah, not at all.
That's why he wasn't beautiful, or he wasn't what people thought the Christ would be. You know what I'm saying? You got something to say, sir?
Yeah, Joe.
Salaki, I was just gonna say he wasn't flashy. He wasn't like throwing jewels and whatnot in your face and making it look appealing to you like that. Like you said, he looked like a real nigga. He wasn't.
Right.
He was about his father's business, not about things of the world.
Right.
Basically, you know what I'm saying, the brother looked at he was rough, but you know what I'm saying, the spirit of the Lord was with him. You would look at him and you wouldn't think like he know anything about the Bible, you know what I'm saying? You probably would have just looked at him and like, yeah, nah, I'm not going in that direction. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to have a conversation with this brother.
Yeah, Luke 19:27. Real quick.
You can pull that, Rigo. Pull Luke chapter 19, verse 27. Oh, sure.
Luke 19:27. Or it's like not 27. Luke 19 and you can read. Is it 14? Slightly, hold that.
This is what we doing right here. This is edifying, you know what I'm saying? We edify blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, you understand? We go straight into the text, go straight into the Bible, get the exact precept, just so that you could be learned, you know what I'm saying? So you can be taught.
Right. It's 21. Luke 19:21.
For I fear thee, because
where you at?
Chapter 19, Luke. Verse
so
21.
You want to say Luke chapter 19, verse 21.
Luke chapter 19, verse 21.
There you go.
For I fear thee, because thou art an austere man.
An austere man.
Austere man.
And this is what what's talking about Christ.
Right.
That the disciples knew that Christ was an austere man. What does austere mean? Austere, I get the exact definition for it.
And I'm gonna give just a little.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Austere is someone that, you know, extreme authority, man. Someone that's just serious as hell. Don't get me wrong, like, you know what I'm saying? He might joke around every now and then, or he might not. You know what I'm saying? But what he says is the law. You understand? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Some of us might have had a father that was serious as hell. Some of us may have not. You know what I'm saying? Anyone that's of that, you know what I'm saying? So I could. If I could.
So basically, austere means rough. It means rough. It comes from the Greek word.
Strong's G 840. Austeros.
Right? And it means harsh, rough, rigid. Christ had a rough look. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what Kimbo Slice is?
Yeah.
Like, Kimbo Slice, he looked smooth and clean and he looked rough.
Right.
Big beard and, you know, swole. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Christ was a bodybuilder, but what I am saying is Christ didn't look like no chump either. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wore a golden girdle. You understand what I'm saying? He wore a golden girdle. Why did he wear a girdle? Because that's what ancient warriors wore to protect their midsection. The girdle about to pass with the golden girdle. That's in case somebody tried to stab you, because if you read the Bible, they would stab brothers in war in under the fifth rib. That's just like, you're gonna die. But if you had your girdle caps, a girdle, they couldn't do that. or it'd be hard for them to hit you there. You understand? So it says, "For I feared thee because thou art an austere man." Now that go back to Isaiah 53, the third verse, I believe.
Finishing verse 2. There is no beauty in him that we should not desire him. Verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief.
And acquainted with grief.
And we hid, as it were, our faces from him.
Right. We were acquainted with grief. That's what Christ was. Why was he acquainted with grief?
Go ahead, take a shot at it, brother.
The condition our people were.
Okay, that's somewhat true. That's somewhat true. But there's a specific reason why he was like, if you're acquainted with somebody, what does that mean?
You know someone?
Yeah, you know somebody.
You met them before once or twice?
Acquainted?
Yeah, like
I would say acquainted, like you're real familiar with them. You know what I'm saying? Like we acquainted. You know what I mean? Like he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with what? With grief. Why was he acquainted with grief? Why was Jesus Christ acquainted with grief? Is it because his people didn't chant crucify him? Maybe it was because they wasn't trying to kill him.
Right.
For checking them on their wrongs.
Right.
No, they were chanting crucify him. Remember he came into his own and his own received him not?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The people, the high priest of that time, the priests of that time, the respected people of that time to Israel, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they hated Christ. They could not stand Christ. And they knew he was the Messiah.
Right.
They knew he was the Messiah. That's what Caiaphas said in John the 11th chapter. You know, he said that it is prophesied that one must come and die for the nation. Yeah. He knew that was Christ, but they had an agenda. You know what I'm saying? It was really working for the Romans behind the scenes. But the point I'm making is Christ had to deal with the grief of people wanting to kill him. People always trying to battle him. People always trying to confound him and tempt him with questions. People, leaving the truth. People not coming to the truth. Dying. Knowing you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? Like Christ read the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like just Christ just woke up and he knew everything. Christ studied the scriptures coming up. You understand what I'm saying? So when he read Isaiah 53, he was like, man, this is going to happen to me.
Right.
Because we're going to read what's going to happen to him. And when he read it, he was like, this is going to happen. And it didn't vex him, but it did make him an acquaintance with grief.
Yeah, you got to know grief.
Thoughts heavy.
Real personal.
Like, you know you're about to go through pain. You know you're about to get killed. I mean, how would you think? You know what I'm saying? Christ didn't live to 45.
Right.
Christ didn't make it, old as Christ. He did it. You know what I mean? I believe it was early 30s, most scholars said. Right? And he did that for us. But go ahead, keep reading.
I carry it on from verse 3. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 3. He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
He was what?
He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
Right, he was despised. Let me show you where Christ was despised. Here it is, Christ is the Messiah, right? He coming to cover our behinds for our wrong. And this is what they said. Get Matthew. Actually, get Mark. I like the one in Mark. 15 and 11. Mark 15 and 11. I'm going to show you how he was despised and rejected of men. Versus just saying.
Mark chapter 15, verse 11. But the chief priest moved the people that he should rather release, what was that, Barnabas, unto them. And Pilate?
So what happened here? Remember, Christ was on trial. Christ is innocent, by the way. But Christ is on trial, and Pilate was giving Israel the option. Do you want me to release Barnabas, a murderer, to you, or Christ?
Right.
The noble thing would have been to, oh man, release Christ, man, because he's not a murderer. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And keep reading.
All right. So you said verse 15, correct?
12 now. I think you started at 11. Start at 11.
But the chief priest, okay, yeah, kind of live verse 12. And Pilate answered and said again unto them, what will ye then that I shall do unto him whom ye call the King of the Jews? And they cried out again, crucify him.
What?
And they cried out again, crucify him.
They said, the people was chanting, crucify him. And you know, this whole time, Christ was quiet.
Right.
Like Christ was like, man, to hell with y'all. I'm going to come back and do this and do that. Like he was quiet the whole time. Can you imagine that, being innocent? But why was he quiet? Because Christ could have talked his way out of it? Go ahead.
So I guess because he knew what was supposed to happen and what was going to happen. It had to come to fruition.
Why though?
For the sake of his people.
That's true. But you said something. Say what you said again.
He knew it had to come to fruition.
Right? Why? How do we know that? Because remember, before the Romans came and abducted him against his will, right? What was his? I want to say his last prayer before. Yeah, his last prayer before everything happened, him being caught up by the Romans and Judas betraying him. What did he pray? Y'all need it? Let's get it. Get Matthew 26 and 38. Hold where you at, sir, brothers. Matthew 26 and 38.
All right. Matthew chapter 26, verse 38. Then he said unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. Oh, sorry, maybe that wasn't.
No, that was it. That's it.
Oh, sorry.
You right.
Keep on.
Is that written in red?
Yeah,
That's Christ saying that. I'm trying to figure out what's in my phone. It says, read it again.
Matthew chapter.
He took James and John, and I believe Peter, but James and John, the sons of Zebedee, he took them to a place where Christ would normally go and have them stand watch while he go to a certain area and praise and solidarity. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 38. Then said he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful.
Right. Here, a man, remember we read that in Isaiah 53, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Why? Read.
Even unto death.
Even unto death. Read. He was vexed. Go ahead.
Tarry ye and watch with me.
Right. Stand guard. Go ahead.
Verse 39. And he went a little further. And fell on his face.
And he fell on his face. Go ahead. And
prayed, saying.
And he what?
And prayed, saying.
So Christ is praying. Let's see what he says in his prayer.
Oh my Father.
Oh my Father. You gotta imagine, it's dark. His heart is racing. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot going on. And he's so much pressure on him. so much grief is in his mind that he had to pray like this. Go ahead.
If it be possible.
He said, Most High, if it be possible, sir, go ahead.
Let this cup pass from me.
Let this cup pass from me. What does that mean?
Not to go through with it.
Go, now, say that again.
Like, let this pass from me is like saying, like, if I could get out of this.
Right. Out of what?
Out of this, what's coming? All the hell is it about to
all the hell, that's right. All the hell you're about to go through, physically, mentally. If there's another way, let this cup pass from me. You know what I'm saying? But did the Most High respond? No. Most High say, no, my son. I mean, he didn't say nothing. He didn't say, you got this. He didn't, nothing. You go do you. Christ knew within himself, it has to be done. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Nevertheless, not as I will.
And then Christ checked himself. He said, nevertheless, not as I will, read.
But as thou wilt.
But as thou wilt. Where did you get that from? How you tell you to pray? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. You know what I'm saying? It's ultimately, Christ knew he had his feelings about what was going on. You know what I'm saying? As any man knowing that is going to feel like overwhelmed greatly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Christ decided, he caught himself when he decided to go through it. He knew Christ could have ran away.
Right.
He could have ran away and fled to Africa. But he did it. He said, I'm going to go through this so that we have the opportunity to be in the truth. Go ahead.
I'm going to carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 40. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them.
Oh, that's it on that.
Okay.
That's it on that. But you get the point, right? Go back to Mark now. Mark 11.
15 and 11.
Let me see.
Yep. 15 and 12.
Yep, go ahead.
And Pilate answered and said again unto them, What will ye then that I shall do unto him who called the King of the Jews? Verse 13. And they cried out again, Crucify him.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 14. Then Pilate said unto them, Why? What evil hath he done? And they cried out the more exceedingly, Crucify him.
Right, and they cried out the more exceedingly. It wasn't like they just said it once, crucify him, and then walked away. They was mad. They hated Christ. Like, they really hated him. Can you imagine the feeling of being hated so much by people, but you're here on their part? Like, you ain't do nothing wrong to them. You ain't did nothing wrong at all. You're completely innocent of anything they're saying against you. And they're chanting with all their might. I mean, I can see the veins on niggas' necks right now, yelling. It's like, as I think about it, crucify him.
Right.
These are the same ones that was screaming, Noah. You know what I mean? It was crucify him, crucify him. Yeah. Probably throwing stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Christ is sitting there. I believe this is after they beat him. I believe so. They wasn't satisfied with that. They wasn't satisfied with Christ's face being beaten, a crown of thorns on his head. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And so Pilate, willing to content the people, released Barnabas unto them.
Right.
And delivered Jesus, Yahushua.
He released a murderer in the stead of Christ. They would rather have a murderer walking around than an innocent man. Go ahead.
When he has scourged him.
They scourged after that, after they scourged him, meaning they beat Christ. Those Romans, they took off his garment. They took off the garment he had, and then they put on a garment that was meant to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not devalue, degrade him. They put a garment over him that was, like sackcloth. You know what I'm saying? And they put a robe on him, and then they put a crown of thorns. They beat a crown of thorns in his head. Why? They was mocking him. That's what the white people was doing. They was mocking him. Behold, and they gave him I believe a staff too. They said, "Behold, King of the Jews," and they was laughing, ha 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 ha. Right? But really the joke on them, because when Christ come back, these same people that did all that, they're gonna see Christ. They tell you that in Revelation 1:7, that behold, he comes with clouds, and every eye shall see him, even them who pierced him. Woo! Damn. And those that crucified him. Y'all look, this is not a joke, man. It's really not a joke. Go ahead.
Scourged him to be crucified. Verse 16. And the soldiers led him away into the hall, called Aritium. Aritium. And they called together the whole band. Verse 17.
They called together the whole little group of Roman soldiers. I can't put a number on it, but it was a band is like a large number of men. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 17. And they clothed him with purple.
They clothed him with purple. Go ahead.
And plaited a crown of thorns. And put it about his head.
And put it about his head. They didn't set it on there delicately. This is a crown of thorns. So whoever handled the crown of thorns, I'm sure got poked a couple times.
Right.
The crown of thorns was sharp. And they put it on there. So he said his brother got a headband on. Christ had a crown of thorns beaten to his head.
Right.
And blood running down his face. Blood running down his face. And you know how painful that was? You ever touch a thorn? If you try to pick a rose,
right,
and you clip a thorn, that hurt. Imagine a crown of those. It wasn't just one layer. It was like, you ever seen the illustration of it? It was like interwoven. Like they was back there making it while they was chanting crucifying. You know what I'm saying? And Christ went through that, so that brother can wear that headpiece.
Right.
And I can wear this headpiece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 18. And began to salute him. Hail, King of the Jews.
This is what the Romans were saying. Was they being serious or facetious? They was being facetious. They was mocking him.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 19.
And Christ is just worn out, tired, knowing what he got to go through, quiet. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And they smote him on the head with a reed.
And they smote him on the head with a reed. Go ahead.
And did spit upon him.
They spit on him. It wasn't just one dude just, and that was it. That was all, It was a band of Roman soldiers.
Right.
Spitting on him. Slapping him up, socking him. Go ahead, keep reading.
And bowing their knees, worshipped him.
And they're saying, oh, King of the Jews. Right? They're mocking him. Go ahead.
And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple from him and put on his own clothes on him and led him out to crucify him.
And then they led him out to crucify him. Keep reading.
Verse 21. And they compelled one, Simon, a Syrian, who passed by coming out of the country.
Now this was the Israelite, but he was called a Syrian because of where, a lot of times, like, okay, for example, they'll name you after where you're from. You know what I'm saying? Like Elijah, the prophet it doesn't say what tribe he was from, it just says Elijah the Tishbite. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's they acquaint your name with, your geographic upcoming. Go ahead.
Out of the country, the father of Alexander and Rufus, to bear his cross. Verse 22. And they bring him unto the place.
Now, the reason why this brother helped Christ is because Christ couldn't carry it. So that brother, shout out to that brother that helped Christ carry his cross.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And they bring him unto the place Golgotha, which is being interpreted the place of a skull.
Right, the place of a skull. You know what I'm saying? And white people mock that today still. Why? Because they have this skull and bones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every president that has ever been had to go through the skull and bones. You know what I'm saying? This is, secret society crap. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And they gave him to drink wine mingled with mirth.
Right. Now that's it on that. Now, you get the point though. It's more than that. It's more. If you read Matthew's account, good night, it tells you that they were socking them, spitting on them. You understand what I'm saying? Because remember, the disciples was looking from afar off.
Right.
They were looking from afar off. When they came into Christ, they scattered. And they were looking. So Mark is writing how he explained it. Matthew's writing out. That's like, if we all was to go, I don't know, if we was all to go, let's say today. If tomorrow we wrote our experience about today, it would all be the same. We'll just say it different.
Yeah, different accounts.
You know what I'm saying? That's what Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John is all about.
Different perspectives.
Right. Go ahead.
All right.
Isaiah 53 and 4.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 4.
Keep this in mind. This is what Christ read.
Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we did esteem.
He borne our griefs. That's why he was grieved. And he carried our sorrows. Go ahead.
Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. Verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgression.
He was, everything he went through was for us. Because I'm trying to get you to understand. You, me, nobody will know that Israelite, know about the truth, if it wasn't for Christ going through what he went through. Right. There would be none of this. Nothing. Christ could have been selfish and said, I had a kingdom for myself. I ain't going through it. These niggas don't listen. I'm not going through it for them.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But Christ is brotherly.
Right.
So he said, I'm gonna take one for the team. I'm gonna hold this L, man. Y'all gotta do right, man. Don't let this go in vain. Don't slack on you knowing the truth.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Don't let nothing come in between what I did for you. Don't let that happen, man. That's what Christ is saying, man. You know? That's like jumping in front of a bullet for somebody, and then you save their life, and then they start smoking cigarettes.
Oh, that's horrible.
Nigga, you might as well, you killing yourself anyway.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it don't make no sense. Christ went through all what he went through, and you leave the truth. You never in the truth. But the truth wasn't in you. But go ahead.
All right. Isaiah chapter 53, second part of verse 5. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace.
The chastisement of our peace, read,
was upon him.
Was upon him. What does that mean? The chastisement of our peace. I know it's a little, was upon him. So he went through chastisement, the ridicule and everything we just read, so we can have peace.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So we can be like, so we can say, I was forgiven because I believe in Christ, and I'm a new creature in Christ. Without that, the Most High's back will be turned on us. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And with his stripes we are healed. Verse 6.
And with his stripes we are healed. Remember, he was receiving lashes. I hate to reference it, but you ever seen Passion of the Christ? they tried to embody what happened,
Right.
but I mean they couldn't even do it. But even that was graphic.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And sidebar, the dude that played, I know you know where I'm going with this. The dude that played Jesus Christ in Passion of the Christ, y'all know what happened? When he on the scene where he was on the cross, this is real. You can look it up. The scene where he was on the cross, when you know that filming and stuff, he got struck by lightning, like in real life.
Yeah.
He got struck by lightning. You know what I'm saying? Because Mel Gibson knows the Israelites was black. He was gonna make a movie about the Maccabees.
Right.
Mel Gibson, no, he's the one that directed that. But go ahead.
All right. Verse
6.
Verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray.
Israel, which is the sheep, has gone astray. Read.
We have turned everyone to his own way.
We have turned everyone to his own way. Read.
And the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
And the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. So everything, all that pressure, all the wrongs was as if Christ did it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 7. He was oppressed.
He was oppressed.
And he was afflicted.
He was afflicted.
Yet he opened not his mouth.
And all of what he went through, he opened not his mouth. Who was it talking about? Get Matthew 26:63. Start at 57. 57, yeah. I'm going to illustrate. I want you to see this. You got to use your imagination. You understand? So then that you appreciate it that much more, and you would not straddle the fence on, I'm in the truth. Oh, no. I got to get this money. I got to get these hoes. I want to smoke this weed. No, I'm in the truth. Hey, no way in hell I'm going to turn my back on what was done for me. I'm not. That's like it.
Right.
That's me. Right? But I know y'all not either. Go ahead.
All right. Well, it's Matthew chapter 26, verse 56.
57.
57.
Uh-huh.
All right. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled.
Uh-huh.
So verse 58. But Peter followed him afar off.
Remember I told you they was following from afar off. So he must have been on a hill or somewhere we can see, oversee, or he can hear and see everything. Go ahead.
But Peter followed him afar off unto the high priest's palace, and went in and sat with the servants to see the end.
Go ahead.
Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness.
Sought true witness.
Sought false witness.
Sought false witness, read.
Against Jesus.
Right.
To put him to death.
So they came up with lies to convince Pilate, because Pilate at first was like, you know, why am I going to kill him? For what?
Right.
And so they was like, they went and huddled up and came up with a bunch of lies to conspire against Christ, an innocent man, one of their own, a brother, and they wanted him dead. We read that they released a murderer in the stead of Christ. Pilate said, who you want to release? A murderer, Barnabas, or Yahushua? They said Barnabas with no hesitation.
Right.
Release Barnabas. And the disciples is watching from afar off. Go ahead.
But found none. It's like in verse 6.
And they knew that it was pointless to jump in and try and fight. Why? Because Christ told them, if this was my kingdom, my servants would fight.
Right.
He said, remember when Peter cut the dude's ear off? Right. Peter was ready to go to war right there. You ain't taking my Lord.
Right.
And Peter, or the Lord checked Peter, and then he put his hand over the dude's side of his face, and his ear came back. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead. I know that dude was tripping.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know he was when the band of Roman soldiers was beating him and stuff. I know he was in the back
I can hear it.
right. Like, you know, go ahead.
Verse 60.
Or it could have been a prideful devil and still, you know.
All right.
Go ahead.
Verse 60. But found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none.
Found they what?
Found they none.
Found they none what? No occasion to kill him.
All right.
Go ahead.
At the last came two false witnesses and said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of the Most High.
So they are Christ on trial, so to speak. And they like, man, this nigga said he would destroy the temple of God. And everybody like, yeah, I heard him too. Ah! Right? Yeah, it's a group, it's a crowd of Israelites trying to get Christ killed. Right. That's their whole motive. That's how we're going to kill this nigga.
Right.
Right, read.
And to build it in 3 days.
And that's not what Christ said. If I could, Christ, when he said that about the temple being brought down, he was talking spiritual. He was talking about himself, because he was the temple that was going to be brought down and be brought up in 3 days. But they went over their heads. Go ahead.
And the high priest arose and said unto him, answerest thou nothing?
And this is the point. The high priest Caiaphas arose and said unto him, answerest thou nothing? Right, read.
What is it with these witnesses against thee?
Defend yourself.
Right.
Read.
But Yahushua held his peace.
He said what?
But Yahushua held his peace.
One more time.
But Yahushua held his peace.
He held his peace. Why? Why did he hold his peace? Because Christ read Isaiah 53, and he knew where it says, yet he opened not his mouth. He thought about it right then and that second and didn't say anything.
All right.
Because when he grew up reading Isaiah 53, knowing that it was talking about him, he knew there would come a point where he would have to hold his peace so prophecy can be fulfilled. Because Christ could probably talk himself out of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Christ could have been like, listen. Christ was cutting him so many times and showing, you know, that he had the authority and they didn't. He could have talked his way out of that, but he didn't. He held his peace. Go ahead.
If I could too, like I can't imagine him like holding his peace, but also like trying to be like, man, Lord willing, I don't have to die, because he did cry to the Most High, like, let this pass.
And we brought that out. No, go ahead.
So he's probably thinking like, man, like I'm gonna die, but I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, Lord willing, I don't get sentenced to death. You know what I'm saying? So he just like
right. I mean, Christ.
Let it have whatever happens. Let the Lord will be done.
Right. And in Isaiah 53, we was reading how he was reading it, knowing that this was going to happen to him. He knew that he was going to be bruised for our transgressions, and the chastisement of our peace was upon him. Meaning we have peace through his chastisement, through what he went through. You understand? He came unto his own received him not. That's what Christ knew he was going to go through, and he went through it. Go back to Isaiah 53. And 7.
Isaiah chapter 53 and 7. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted.
He was afflicted.
Yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter.
Now, who has ever seen a lamb being taken to go be, you know, butchered, so to speak? You ever seen that? Do they know do they like, you know, fighting all that? They just go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the same thing in Christ. Christ just went. Because he knew it had to be done. Go ahead.
And as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth.
So he opened not his mouth. Now, when you read Isaiah 53, how is that talking about anybody else?
Right.
Who else died for the nation?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who else was afflicted and despised and rejected of men? We read where he was despised and rejected of men. Where? How was he? Now I'm just doing a summarization. It said in Isaiah 53 and 2 or 3, he is despised and rejected of men. How?
You said,
how was he despised and rejected of men?
You for a precept?
And if you have one, but I mean, you can just tell me. Like, how was he? We're showing that this is talking about Christ.
Yeah.
So, how was Christ despised and rejected of men?
He was sentenced to death.
Okay, give me more.
He went to his own.
He was despised. Huh?
He went to his own and they received him not.
He went into his own and received him not. I believe that's John 1 and what, 10 or 14? One of those, right?
Yeah.
And then it says a man of sorrows. How was he a man of sorrows? What is sorrow?
Like sadness.
Why was he sad?
Because it was sad because he had to endure a lot of temptation.
He had to endure a lot of temptation.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's true, he did. But in particular,
He had to see his people suffer.
that too. But also, I'm trying to get you, he read Isaiah 53. You know what I mean? And he knew it was talking about him. Like, when Christ would read certain things, he would know it's talking about him. Where can I find that? Get Luke 4:16 real quick, and then we'll end it on that. Luke 4:16. Maybe. Yep, this is one of my favorite scriptures.
Luke chapter 4, verse 16.
Go ahead.
And he came to Nazareth.
I'm going to show you that when he read things, he knew it was talking about him. And when it wasn't. Go ahead.
Where he had been brought up.
And he came to Nazareth where he had been brought up, read.
And as a custom was,
And as his custom was. Go ahead.
he went into the synagogue on a Sabbath day and stood up for to read.
Just like we do. When brothers come in, up here, we call them up, we check their registry, and brothers come up here and read in the Hebrew and in the English, and we break it down as custom is, right? Go ahead. 17.
Verse 17. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet, what that? Isaiah,
Which is the Greek way of saying Isaiah, right? So they opened the book of Isaiah to him. Go ahead.
And when he had opened the book,
And when he opened the book,
he found the place where it was written.
in the book of Isaiah, read.
Verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
Now, he's reading Isaiah. I'll give you the chapter and verse in a second. There's a classroom full of people. You understand? He's reading it. Read.
Because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
He's reading it. He's reading it. Go ahead.
To preach deliverance to the captives and recovering of the sight to the blind. To set at liberty them that are bruised.
He's reading. He's not talking. He's reading Isaiah. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 19. To preach the acceptable year of the Lord. Verse 20. And he closed the book.
He closed the book.
And he gave it.
You know, I just have to illustrate that for you. He closed the book. Go ahead.
And he gave it again to the minister.
And he gave it to the head, the brother that was teaching the class. Go ahead.
And sat down. And the eyes of all of them that were in the synagogue
that was in class
were fastened on him.
They was all looking at him like, what's up with you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He read that and then sat down. And then everybody looking at him like,
right.
And then what?
And he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears.
Now, what do you mean by that? And by the way, that's Isaiah 61, I believe. But what do you mean by that? Imagine the setting. Yeah, that's Isaiah 61 and 1 and 2. So you read Isaiah 61, just like how we read in Isaiah 53. That's talking about him. You see Isaiah 61, he said, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. Show you Isaiah was a prophet.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because Christ was able to go in there and read that and knew it was talking about him. Because he's the one that taught good tidings unto the meek.
that was sent to bind up the brokenhearted and proclaim liberty to the captives. He said, this is talking about me. You understand what I'm saying? He closed the book and said, this is fulfilled. And now this is fulfilled. Nobody else can do that. I can't come in here and read Isaiah 60:2 and say, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth. Whoopie whoop. Not like that, but
Right,
and then
right.
close it and be like, just me. I can't do that. You understand what I'm saying? That's blasphemous.
Right.
Only Christ was able to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, Christ is definitely, Isaiah 53 is talking about Jesus Christ. You got fake Israelites that like to say that's talking about Israel. That don't even make no damn sense because there's so many singular nouns. You understand what I'm saying? Him, not
Right.
they.
Right.
They went through that. They were despised. No, he was despised
Damn
and
right.
rejected of men. That was a particular individual who was going to catch hell. And it was pleasing in the sight of the Lord. Was there any questions? Or anybody want to add onto it? Or what you got from it or anything? All right. We're going to throw these prayers up real quick. When I not stand. I feel like we can blow the Alright, when y'all put done, as soon as face the east. The Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Tanakh,
Ayah,
Ayah,
Shemkah,
Hawa,
Malakwah,
Kaba'ah, Zaka, Ayah, Aisha, Maratza, Hawa, Ayah, Shemayim, Ilanawa, Kum, Paul, Gawam, Salaklanawa, Wawathnawa, Salaklanawa, Kawawathnawa, Bala'ah, Yanawa, Messiah one, Paul, Messiah Ayah, Rai, Ayah, Lakah, Amalakwa, Allah, Hatta Para, Amen.
The Lord's Prayer in English, Our Father,
Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Hakak or the power. Yahweh, Yahweh,
The water. Amen. Alright. Akah in the English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. Power to cleanse the leper. Power to raise the dead. Power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
This is Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. It's like Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahayim, Ayan, Gaba'ah, Isaiah, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Maratza, Baal, Lathan, Amawat, Galka, Baal, Anawim, Shemarka, Kana, La'ah, Anawim, Bala'ah,
Yashan, Shalomar, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Zorka, Yad, Yamka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Yarach, Delilah, Yahweh, Shamarka, Nakal, Rai, Shamar, the Pascha, the Hawa, the Shamar, the Afka, the Wa'aka, the I will love.
Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes.
I will lift up my eyes
to the hills.
unto the hills.
Whence cometh my help?
Whence cometh my
My
help?
help cometh from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord.
Who made heaven and earth.
Who made heaven and earth.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You will not suffer thy foot to be
He
moved.
that keepeth thee
He that keepeth
will not
thee
slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber
shall neither slumber
nor sleep.
nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade.
The Lord is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee.
The sun shall not smite thee
by day.
by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
The Lord shall preserve thee
from all evil.
all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
Even forevermore.
Even forevermore.
The blessings. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Me'aka Allah.
Wa Me'aka Allah.
Wa Hayim.
Wa Hayim.
Wa Tazab Ya'ah.
Tazab Ya'ah.
Wa Yahana.
Wa Yahana.
Wa Wakyim.
Wa Wakyim.
Hasarayim.
Hasarayim.
Hakazayim.
Hakazayim.
Hakayayim.
Hakayayim.
Wa Ha'akwatyin.
Wa Ha'akwatyin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Wa Hashem.
Wa Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Wa Wada.
Wada.
Amen.
Amen. All right, the blessing in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angel.
And the angel.
Command General Yahweh.
Command General Yahweh.
The general.
The general.
The captain.
The captain.
The officer.
The officer.
The trooper.
Trooper.
And the assistant.
And the assistant.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
And with Yahweh Shai.
And with Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Sorry. Gosh, what you call the class?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta just call it.
And of Israel, we're gonna give one. So I give Aqua to be seated. Men of Israel, we're gonna give the teachers a courteous salute. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah Barak, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakathon.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakathon.
Men of Israel, we're gonna turn and face the sisters. Aqua, you can please stand. We're gonna give the sister a courteous salute. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah Barak.
Yahweh Shamar Ba'Shem Yahushai.
Yahweh Shemar L'Taba Hashem Yahushua.
Yani Matah, dismissed.
Like, in there real quick, please. And then, it's like,